Namaskar, welcome to my new episode of the podcast Dil Se Dil Tak with Pradeep. I'm happy to welcome Mr. Sanjay Lat, who has been associated with petroleum industry for quite some time. He holds very nice position, very senior position in its associations, Dealers Association, and also he is the part of the All India Dealers Association as a General Secretary, right? Secretary General. So I'm very happy that he, from his busy schedule, accepted my invitation and joined me on this podcast, which will be mainly concentrated or evolving around subjects related to petroleum industries, automobile industries, and its contribution to India's GDP and the job created by these industries and the latest policies of government of India, which has impacted adversely to the common people. Will also try to talk about that. But before that, I will request Mr. Sanjay Lat to give some brief idea about his profile so that our viewers can understand his level and also enjoy the talking this particular session.
I am from the petroleum retail industry, holding a portfolio of the All India Petroleum Dealers Association as Secretary General for the last 6 years, and also the General Secretary of the Utkal Petroleum Dealers Association Odisha for the last 14 years. So, and into petroleum retail, having some automobile experience also.
That's very nice. So, Lat Sahab, I'll just ask you that how do you see the India's future as far as automobile industry is concerned? Because automobile industry, where the most of the petroleum products which are used in India are the consuming sector, right? So how do you see its future?
See, I think India is going to be the largest consumer and manufacturer of automobiles in the times to come. It is already the fastest growing country. We see all the brands having come to India because of its huge population at one time, which was a liability, now having got converted into an asset. This population helps us create consumers as well as industries as well as jobs. So it is all interlinked, you know. If the country does well economically, if the people do well economically, and they start upgrading from a bike to a car, and this is what we have been seeing in the demand for in the rising demand for two-wheelers, in the rising demand for four-wheelers over the past few years.
That's very nice. In fact, I have got some statistics about the Indian automobile sector. As for the information received from the internet, I could find that India's current GDP, if you see, is contributing, manufacturing industry is contributing almost 40 to 46%, especially the automobile industry is contributing. And if you see the total turnover of Indian automobile industry is as on date, if you see the last year's figure, is $240 billion, almost 24 lakh crores is being contributed by Indian automobile industry to India's GDP. It's a big amount. Similarly, it's growing at the rate of 7% annually. So it's, again, I tell you, this figure is impressive as compared to other countries, if you see, as far as automobile industry is concerned. And if you include the ancillary units, is approximately 6.73 lakhs crore, almost $80 billion. It was their 2024-25 figure, and it's growing at the rate of 9.6%. It means it's growing more than India's automobile industry. It means India is again rising as an exporter of ancillary products to other countries. And its export value stands approximately $30 billion for the year 2024-25. Now, I'll just ask Mr. Lat, because you have been there, and the recent changes in the automobile technologies from fossil fuel to new technologies like hydrogen fuel electric vehicles have come, hybrid technologies have also been used. How do you see Indian market being impacted by new technology versus the conventional fuel-based automobile industry?
See, I'll answer this question in two parts. First part is, let us first understand that hydrocarbons are here to stay for a long time. At least for the coming 20 years, you can say petrol and diesel cars are going to be sold, and petrol and diesel is going to be the big brother in the energy basket. Yes, India has very well adapted to alternative sources of energy like EV, like ethanol blending in petrol, like biodiesel, like hydrogen fuel. Many things are being developed, and I must thank the automobile industry that they too have reacted very positively, and in a very short span of time they have manufactured vehicles which are hybrid in nature, which can run on flexi fuel, which is ethanol as well as petrol, which are running on CNG, which can run on pure ethanol also, which means our automobile industry is very much active about the changes which the country is bringing about, and these changes which the government is bringing about, the automobile industry has reacted very positively and timely.
You have used the word ethanol. Now this has become a talk of town, the town, you can say, in the recent past. And it was said that the combination of ethanol in the petrol, and especially those vehicles which are not meant to run with the combination of ethanol with petroleum, the petrol as such. So how do you see the combination? Is it right way to immediately implement this condition, these kind of fuel mixture with the Indian customer, or it is injustice to them? Can you put a light on this? Because many people are lodging their complaints that their vehicles are getting damaged, the engines are impacted or affected, even the mileage has been compromised. So how do you see this?
I think in the past few months there were such comments in the media, and Ministry of Petroleum took it up very seriously, and they conducted surveys and they involved the automobile manufacturing companies to actually check many varieties of vehicles, old and new, and see what is the impact of ethanol blended petrol on these vehicles. Though this was done even before implementation of ethanol in India. In other countries like Brazil, where 40% ethanol blended vehicles are being run on the roads without any problems, India also started with a very humble way of blending, and today I think we are above 20% blending in petrol without any problem to any vehicle, be it old or new. All the vehicles have adapted absolutely normally to the ethanol blended petrol. The questions raised were being about the wear and tear being higher in ethanol blended petrol, but it has not come out to be true. Yes, the reports have suggested a slight drop in mileage, but that also again cannot be alone attributed to the use of ethanol blended petrol. It could be because of idling at traffic stops. So therefore the blending of ethanol actually has improved the octane level of the petrol, which means you will be experiencing smoother rides rather than bumpy rides, which people have been thinking so. So any problem in the vehicle may result in this, but otherwise ethanol blended petrol people have been silently using without much advertisement about it. I think initially even the oil marketing companies did not tell the consumers that they were selling ethanol blended petrol, though it came out in the national media, but it was not very highly publicized. And nobody complained about it because there was no problem actually.
But I'll just interrupt here. Do you feel that it is ethical for government or the companies not to disclose? Because there are two reasons. Earlier, when ethanol was in the process of being mixed with the fuel, or especially petrol, it was assured that the prices will come down to 40% or 50% of what exactly we are right now purchasing, because these ethanols are being processed here only, and it costs very less. So both the combined product will be cheaper to consumers, but it has not happened. Where do you see this? And moreover, when I have bought a car which is meant to run on petrol, and without my knowledge, if government is selling, and that too, had this been private companies, we could have sued them, but it is a government owned public sector units which selling fuel. So don't you feel it is injustice to the customers?
See, I think the government has taken enough amount of safeguards before such implementation to ensure that even a vehicle which the manufacturer recommends to be run on pure petrol and the consumer is forced to buy a blended petrol which is blended with ethanol, and the vehicle reacts positively to it without creating any problem. Therefore, the consumer doesn't have to worry. I think the government has taken that guarantee upon themselves. That is one. The other part which you said, that ethanol blending would reduce petrol prices, that's what we were promised. Yes, initially ethanol production was at a very cheaper price, but government had to take care of this farming community, which happens to be our biggest production base. It's an agri-based country. Therefore, the farmers were at a situation where their produce was being sold and they were not getting even the cost of production. So their basic price had to be increased to higher levels to make farming a profitable venture. So if you look at it, around 40 rupees per litre was the ethanol price when it was introduced. I think it stands at around 70 rupees today, giving huge margins, not huge margins, but giving decent margin to farmers. And if you look at the basic price of petrol today, it happens to be 58 rupees. So indirectly, we are buying pure petrol without the taxes at 58 rupees, and then the taxes when added together makes it around 95 rupees. But ethanol alone costs around 71 rupees. Therefore, instead of making a profit out of ethanol blending, we can say that the oil companies are not making a profit on ethanol blending, or the government is not making a profit on ethanol blending.
Then what is the need of this? The ethanol cost is more and the pure petrol is costing less. And as everyone knows, that Bhutan-like country where they import from India and sell it at 60 rupees per litre. Even Bangladesh is selling at lesser price, 70 rupees at Bangladesh rupee or rupiah. And in India, it is sold more than 102 rupees. And in some cities, like in Bombay, it is 110 rupees approximately. In other cities, Chennai also, it is quite high. So do you feel that this logic stands correct, that government is losing money by mixing ethanol? There is no need of that. Yes, you're right that had this been reducing the price of petrol, this could have been accepted, but on the contrary, it is not. Moreover, I'll just check it out. You said about Brazil. Brazil is a different country where their economy right now is mostly on maize and sugar. You know, they are the largest producer of sugar in the world. So their economy depends on them, and it is for them utilization of the byproduct which used to be it was going to be dumped. So now they are using it, and again they're selling it in the form of petrol, and they are successful. Yes, that could be. I'll just change slightly, Sanjay Saab. Now we talk about how do you feel that pollution caused by petrol car, and that too when it is mixed with ethanol?
Actually, it reduces pollution when it is ethanol blended, because ethanol is a biofuel. So it doesn't cause pollution as much as a pure hydrocarbon fuel would have cost.
Okay. Now, you must have seen the B6 Bharat 6, the vehicles have come, where the stickers are already there on the vehicle that these vehicles are non-polluting vehicles, right? So why there should be compulsion for these vehicles to have PUCs? I'm slightly changing because this is again a very important and crucial matter where you can enlighten us. The PUCC fines were imposed with the V6 the cars for not having a valid PUCC certificate. So where do you feel when the companies have already certified these vehicles are not as such polluting vehicles, then why these impositions even with a new car?
See, I'll tell you, BS6 vehicles have been exempted from PUC certificates up to a period of 1 year. Now, the sticker which you talked about is about that 1 year. The manufacturers don't say that the entire lifetime of this BS6 vehicle, it will not pollute. Why? Because there are a lot of moving parts in the vehicle. The vehicle runs on a particular fuel. Therefore, there can be mechanical failures leading to pollution, which we call in very
But they don't
simple terms.
certify it, they don't mention that it is only for 1 year.
That's what I said. They don't mention it, but that doesn't mean, see, if you compare a young man and an old man today, if you say that the young man's doctor certificate at the age of 25 was full fit for army, at 75, would you say that he was certified for fully fit
No,
for army?
in that condition, Sanjay Saab, this could be a different logic and matter of discussion. We will not divert on that. But nevertheless, if that is so, there should be some kind of preconditions or the conditions mentioned either on the registration paper or on the certificate itself, which are pasted on the vehicle's windscreen. It's not there. Moreover, the recent increase in the what you call the AQI level, which we used to be proud of, that Bhubaneswar is a very green city and non-polluting city like Delhi, we used to laugh at that. They have got different conditions, the alternate numbers and all these odd even numbers, But suddenly we found that this year the AQI of Bhubaneswar has also gone up to 380 or even touching 400 if I'm not wrong. So what could be the reason? It's only because of the vehicles?
See, if you look at the example of Delhi, I think it is the best example in front of us. Delhi has been experiencing very, very severe such polluting levels, and it was being attributed to various factors, one of them being automobile pollution. I think Delhi, as per the Honorable Supreme Court's direction, Delhi has taken a lot of steps in the automobile registration and use sector. No diesel vehicles are being registered. Even buses are now being converted to EV or hydrogen. So if you look at the last 10 years, Delhi has taken huge steps in the automobile sector to control pollution. However, even this year we saw the pollution levels at the same levels as they were earlier. So which is a clear indicator that apart from automobile pollution, there are many other factors which create pollution. It could be dust on the streets, it could be construction dust, it could be many other things. So I think the study on Delhi, it could be stubble burning as is being always said about Delhi. But I don't think Orissa, Bhubaneswar gets affected by stubble burning. But we need to deeply get into it and find out and arrest it in the next 1 or 2 years and make Bhubaneswar green again.
I tell you, Sanjay Saab, with my recent research on AQI and the reasons behind, I had written an article which was published and widely appreciated, where the contribution of the vehicles, especially the petrol run vehicles, is almost 4 to 7%, less than that to that entire, whereas the other factors which you rightly said about the construction work and the dusty, we live in a very hot climate where the dust is quite possible. But if we are talking about in what you call pollution, government as well as public, we will talk about public later on, but when we drive the vehicle, you find that the wind or all these things carry a lot of dust automatically. Even if you're the houses, you find a lot of dust coming, is only because of the environmental pollution. It's not because of the vehicle. So punishing vehicle owners by the government, how far it was fair in that way?
See, you look at it from two different angles. This pollution fine was raised to 10,000 rupees about a few years back under the Motor Vehicles Act. Some states have kept it low in spite of that 10,000 being the upper limit as per the Central Motor Vehicles Act. Orissa, I think, is going to reduce it to a large extent to benefit the people of Orissa. But let us first understand, as a vehicle owner, do we not have some responsibility? As we need to ride responsibly on the roads. On a bike, if it is, we need to wear a helmet. We shouldn't be driving with in a drunken condition. Shouldn't all our papers of the vehicle be up to date? So these are responsibilities of the citizen themselves. But yes, if the citizen has failed to comply with their responsibilities, it is because of maybe out of sight or forgetfulness, because there is no we are used to enforcement drives, so therefore there are fines. Fine is only the last resort. We shouldn't be thinking why the fine is
Sanjay
high.
Sahib, you are talking from other side of it, but I as a consumer, I feel if the systems are made easy and convenient, many people can avail and get it done. But when you make the system very complex, for example, somebody standing for hours together and not getting the job done at the counters or RTO card, which are again full of the brokers and the pimps, So getting the work done is not easy. See, what you say or the government says is a different kind of make the system easy, convenient, online system. So, but knowingly these things are made very cumbersome, and therefore people are either avoided or they are not able to, even they wish. And again, you said about the fine. Motor Vehicle Act, which has on pollution, they said rupees 10,000. Is it justified? It's absolutely injustice. Is only to punish and maybe extract money. Anyway, I will be talking about the new technologies being used in automobile industry, because there is a gradual change and transformation from fuel-based the vehicles to non-conventional energy-based vehicles, which you talked about. The hybrid technology that have come, fuel cells technology have come. Now the solar powered vehicles are also there in other countries. In fact, I was studying in Sweden and Netherlands. They have already used solar panel based, and in China, as you say, almost 60 to 70% cities, they have got 80 to 90% penetration of the electric vehicles. And those technologically advanced vehicles which are being controlled by AI generated systems, where you find it has reduced. Beijing used to be the world's most polluted city around 10 years or 15 years back. Now they have reduced it, and their average AQI is 40. Whereas in India, we have average AQI in most of the cities hovering around 100 plus. Bhubaneswar has seen for the first time. So how do you see the transformation and acceptance of the electric vehicle or hydrogen cell or hydrogen powered vehicle will make the change, and what will the cost involve in that?
As of now, if you say all these alternate fuel vehicles, EVs and all, the initial cost is definitely high, and the number of charging stations required are inadequate, but in the process of being built up. So I think as of now we have conversion ratio of about 6 to 7% of the motor vehicles onto EV. The largest being two-wheelers and three-wheelers.
Okay.
But the commercial vehicles segment has seen less than 1% conversion. But I think it is going to be higher in the coming years. In spite of conversion into EV, we will still have cleaner fuels as alternatives along with the hydrocarbons. So all the vehicles, all the kind of vehicles, type of vehicles will grow. EVs will grow in number into the conversion. 6 to 7% will definitely grow. Maybe in the next few years we may go around 12 to 13%. And CNG in a large way is being put up by oil marketing companies as an alternate fuel, cleaner fuel. So CNG availability is also there. So CNG will also be a big player as a replacement to hydrocarbons, a replacement to petrol and diesel. We will see many new technologies, but these new technologies have to become affordable as per the economies of scale. Otherwise, hydrogen vehicles as of now...
Is government, by the way, is government supporting these automobile companies for changing from conventional systems to the newer technologies? Like, there must be. In China, if you see, a company called BYD, even Xiaomi has come. Huawei, in fact, is a very interesting player which has entered into the car segment, they have designed their vehicles ultra advanced using like EV system, and moreover AI driven systems they have used. I have got a small very interesting figure. BYD company, how many cars they produce in a year? Almost 4.54 million passenger cars one company is producing and selling world over. In fact, it has already taken over Tesla like company. And Toyota, these companies are already going. It's a down as compared to market share of electric vehicles are concerned. China has considerably captured the international market. Is there any player in Indian market which can compete with BYD as far as passengers and commercial vehicles are concerned?
See, if we talk about competition, I think BYD has had an early start in comparison to our Indian manufacturing companies. But Indian auto manufacturing companies have adapted very well to the change that is coming. And I think Mahindra, particularly if you ask me, Mahindra and Tata Motors, they have adapted very well, and they are soon going to come up with vehicles which will be matching the standards of BYD or any other Chinese company, and maybe with better technology and better value.
Okay. Acha, by the way, before we, because your message about this automobile is really enlightening. I'm sure that the viewers, those who are watching it, they will be finding it very interesting and informative as well. I appreciate it. Before we close, I just want to know, how do you rate this Indian taxation system as far as road taxes are concerned, toll taxes is concerned, or the other taxes which are imposed on automobile sector, including gasolines, fuels, So how do you feel are justified? Are Indian customer rightly charged, or they are overcharged by government policies?
See, the answer to this is very simple. These are decisions taken by the central government, and when they take these decisions, normally we say these are not people-friendly decisions. These are harsh decisions because high amount of taxes don't bring happiness for the people to hear about it. But successively, if a government has been re-elected by the people because of their development projects, because of their futuristic plans about the people, then you can say taxes are welcome. If you look at petroleum taxes, in comparison to what was there during the UPA era, they are much higher. As per the customs central excise taxes, if you say, from about 4 rupees a litre, they are about 22 rupees a litre now, and they have been at a high of about 32 rupees per litre also. But in spite of that, people have given their acceptance, because this money collected from the petroleum taxation has been used for big infrastructure projects and for people-friendly projects. If you look at the toll tax, yes, toll taxes do seem to be high, but also look at the kind of roads that have been developed in India. When we talk about the growth of China, we also talk about the network of roads that China has built, the infrastructure which China has built. Therefore, if we have to just say that India needs to do what China did just to become very successful, so don't we need to develop infrastructure and roads like China? Where does the government get the funding from? It is through taxation only. So the taxation has to be on different things at different levels so that it doesn't hurt the people too much. If you look at the recent GST reforms, where you rightly said that automobiles were being also taxed at a higher slab, have been brought down. A host of items where GST has been brought down has brought in a lot of money onto the hands of the people, which means the government has taxed the people, the government has also relaxed the people. And if people understand it and they see the development happening in reality, I think they successively elect such governments, which I think is also the reality of the day.
So nicely explained, Lal Saab. I believe I like to say that yes, there are many questions to be asked, but time constraints are there. So I will like to thank you for sparing your time and enlightening us on a very complex subject on taxation, also about the government policies which have surely been development oriented. So I believe that in due course of time, government will again look into the inconvenience if it is raised, because more taxes doesn't mean people should be happy. Rather, the system should be that the people contribute and they feel happy to be part of the system. With this, I would like to say yes, thank you once again to be here.